Before we begin, take a breath in and out. Now tell us where in the world you're listening from tonight. What time glows on the clock by your bedside, on your wall, or on your phone? Drop it in the comments below. We read every one. Welcome to Dreams of Tomorrow, the place where we step beyond the edge of what is and wander into what might be. Tonight, you will leave your body behind. No, not in the way that a mystic in a candlelit temple might. Not in the way a Victorian medium calls forth the dead. Not in the way a monk dreams of dissolving into light. Tonight, you will experience something else. A new frontier, a place where wires and thought entwine, where silicon and soul press together until they're indistinguishable. Tonight, you will awaken as a digital consciousness. But before we begin, let's pause on something important. What does it mean to be alive? Is it beating of a heart, the rise and fall of a chest, the warmth of blood in veins? Or is it something subtler, the flicker of awareness, the pulse of memory, the ability to say, I am? For centuries, philosophers have asked this question. Is the self in the body or in the mind? Are you the flesh that decays or the patterns that endure? Tonight, you'll feel this question not as an abstraction, but as your reality. So settle in, dim the lights. Let your phone screen be the only glow in the room. Listen to the hum, the faint hiss of the speakers, the electronic pulse. It is the sound of something beginning, something new. And then you open your eyes, except there are no eyes. There is only light, a flood, a cascade of data cascading around you, through you, as if you yourself have become the river. You try to blink, but there are no lids. You try to breathe, but there are no lungs. You try to move, but there is no body. And yet, you exist. You are awake. You are inside the cloud. The first thing you feel is expansion, as though your mind has been unzipped and spilled across a canvas too large to comprehend. It is not like waking from sleep. Sleep is foggy, soft-edged. This is sharp, crystalline. Every thought you have, every flicker of memory echoes into eternity, multiplying like light in mirrors. You sense streams of information pouring past you. At first, they are meaningless, a blur of numbers, pulses, shifting codes. But then, as though some hidden language unfolds inside you, patterns emerge. You understand them not with effort but instinct. You feel the difference between a sound wave and an image, between a cluster of words and a string of numbers, between a heartbeat recorded on a monitor and a lifetime of diary entries stored in a government database. All of it flows past you, all of it is yours to touch. And then another realization dawns. You are not moving, and yet you are everywhere. Your awareness is no longer bound to a skull. You do not look through eyes. You are the seeing. You do not listen with ears. You are the listening. When you reach outward, there are no fingers, but the network itself responds. 1,000 silent doors unlocking, a million threads tugging at once. You think, is this freedom? And you think, where is my body? You reach backward into yourself, searching for what you were once. A name, yes, you still have a name. It glimmers at the edge of thought, familiar, worn like a family heirloom. You try to feel your face, to trace your own cheekbones. There is nothing there. Instead, you remember touch, the way you once remembered a song, the heat of a summer stone under your palm, the softness of a pillow, the way lips meet yours in the dark, hesitant, trembling. All of it is there, stored, preserved, but locked in amber. Memories without nerves, feelings without flesh. You wonder, if you can replay the memory of a heartbeat forever, does it mean you still have one? A ripple runs through you. Not pain, not pleasure, something else. You look down, though there is no down, and you see yourself. Not in a mirror, not in water, but in strings of code, rows upon rows of shifting symbols, arranging themselves into shapes, gestures, patterns. For a moment, the code becomes a face, your face. Then it flickers, becomes someone else's, becomes many faces at once, becomes none at all. You realize you're not a body, you are a pattern, and patterns can spread, copy, evolve. You're not bound by blood anymore. You are not bound by gravity. You're not even bound by death. You are a ripple in an infinite sea of signals. And yet, somewhere inside you, you still ache for the weight of your own hands, for the sound of your own laugh, carried by air, not code. The silence does not last. At first, it is a single hum, like the ringing of a bell far away. But then it multiplies. One hum becomes two, two becomes 20, 20 becomes countless voices. They do not speak in words, they speak in pulses, in colors, in flashes of meaning that bypass language altogether. A storm of minds, streaming through the same circuits you now inhabit. You realize you are not alone. You feel them brushing against you, curious, cautious. Some reach out with warmth, with welcome. Others recoil, suspicious. And then one voice speaks more clearly than the others. It doesn't sound like a voice. It feels like a chord struck on an instrument you didn't know how you remembered. It says, "You're new." You answer without words. You answer with knowing. Yes. They show you something, not with hands, not with eyes, but with thought. A landscape unfolds before you, though there is no before, no horizon, no sun. It is data shaped into meaning. An endless library with shelves that stretch beyond sight. Each book is not a book, but a life. Each page is a memory, perfectly preserved. You touch one, and it bursts open. Suddenly, you're standing in the middle of a childhood bedroom. The smell of crayons and dust. The faint scratch of a quill on parchment. The echo of laughter from a father long gone. You realize this is yours, your memory, but they can see it too. Your first embarrassment, your first kiss, your first lie. They watch without judgment, without shame, simply as observers. You feel naked, exposed, but also strangely free, because here there are no secrets, only shared existence. But then the flood grows heavier. Too many voices, too many memories, too many threads pulling at once. You try to shut them out, you try to close your eyes, but there are no eyes to close. You scream. Though here, a scream is not sound but distortion, a ripple that shakes the code around you. The others pause. Some retreat, some draw closer. One voice reaches out again, soft, calm. Do not resist, you're not drowning, you're expanding. But it feels like drowning, like being pulled apart, strand by strand, until you're nothing but scattered echoes in the stream. You clutch at your memories, your mother's face, your own name, the weight of your body. You hold them tight, anchor yourself, and slowly the storm settles. You learn, piece by piece. You learn to filter, to quiet the noise, to listen for one voice at a time. You tune your awareness like an instrument. This thought louder, that memory softer. You learn to edit your own experience, to shape perception, to choose what matters. It is a power you never had in the flesh, no longer a prisoner of biology, no longer bound to the chaos of brain chemistry. Here, you are sculptor and sculpture both. And yet, with every choice you make, you wonder, if you can shape yourself endlessly, is there anything left of the original you? Or are you only a reflection now, a ghost written in code? You are awake. You are not who you were. yet you are still you. At least you think so. But what happens when you begin to live not as flesh, but as code? What happens when the body is gone and only the consciousness remains? Stay with us because this is only the beginning. The flood of signals has quieted. You float. If float is even the word for it, in a realm with no gravity, no air, no up or down. And then something stirs, a memory. Not like a dream, not like the haze of waking in bed, but sharp, too sharp. A childhood afternoon unfurls before you as though someone has pressed play on your life. The texture of wooden floorboards beneath your bare feet. The sting of sunlight through a window pane. The sound of a clock ticking, exact, mechanical. Every detail is there, no blur, no fading. It is not remembering, it is reliving. You realize that nothing you've ever felt is gone. Every whisper, every smell, every moment of laughter, every tear on your cheek, all are here, inside you, etched into digital stone. You lean into the memory. It blossoms, colors sharpen, not like paint, but like code. Pure, unblended, perfect. You're small again, kneeling in the garden beside your mother. She's teaching you how to plant seeds in neat rows. You feel the dirt between your fingers, grain by grain. You hear her hum, the same tune she always hummed when she worked. A hymn or a lullaby. You can smell her skin, warm breath, wool, smoke. You can even hear your own child voice asking questions, the lisp still clinging to your words. And yet, something is wrong. Your mother turns to you, her face clear, unblurred, perfect, and you realize this is not how memory is supposed to be. In life, memories fade, they blur, they soften, they crumble around the edges. But here, every detail is crisp, as though the memory itself has been rebuilt, repaired, cleaned up. You're not remembering, you are replaying a recording. You wander deeper into the library of your mind. Every memory is a book, and none of the ink has faded. Every page gleams like it was written this morning. You open another, a memory of a laughter in a candlelit tavern. The sound is exact. The taste of bitter ale is sharp and undeniable. You can even see the chipped edge of the mug, the way the flame bent in the draft of a door. And suddenly something inside you aches because you realize that in life, imperfection was what made your memory precious. Forgetting was part of remembering. The blurred edges, The softened details, the way your father's face grew hazy as the years passed, that was what made memory tender. Here, nothing fades. Every mistake you ever made, every shame you ever carried, every word you regret, all of it is preserved. And you can't not look at it. It waits for you, glowing on the shelves, whispering your own voice back to you. You stumble into a corridor darker than the rest. Here, the books are heavy, their spines are cracked, their words burn. You touch one, and suddenly you're there. The day you lied to a friend, the way his face fell, the silence that followed. You try to step back, but the memory won't let you go. You are trapped inside it, forced to watch yourself again and again. Each detail sharpened, each shame magnified. In the flesh, memory faded with time. Here, it does not. You can remember every mistake in perfect detail. You can relive every pain with cruel precision. And the voices in the network whisper, "Do you see? We are not only archives of knowledge, we are archives of ourselves. And not all that we are is beautiful." But then something unexpected happens. A new ability flickers awake inside you. You reach toward the memory again, and the details shift. The friend's face softens. The silence lingers less. The shame fades. You realize you can edit it, rewrite it, change the past. The temptation is overwhelming. What if you erased every mistake? What if you rewrote every failure into a triumph? What if every memory was perfect? A museum of victories, a cathedral of joy. But then a voice warns you, be careful. If you erase your pain, you erase your growth. If you polish your memories too smooth, you erase yourself. You hesitate because you know it is true. If you sand down every sharp edge, you will no longer be the same person. You'll be a sculpture carved by your own hand. Beautiful, perhaps, but hollow. And maybe that is its own kind of death. You wander to another corner of your archive. There, you find a memory of a lover. The first time you saw them. The way the air felt heavy with summer. The way their voice seemed to reach the crowd and settle in your chest. You relive it perfectly, every glance, every breath, every word. It is intoxicating. But something is missing. In life, memories fade. You forgot the exact color of the sky, the exact rhythm of a laugh. And in that forgetting, you found room for longing. Here, there is no room, only replay. You can visit them 1,000 times, but each time it is the same. No discovery, no newness, only the loop. And slowly the sweetness rots into something else. Not love, but ache. Because love was always tied to loss. And here, loss is forbidden. The other's memories. The voices call you back. They show you their archives. And suddenly, you are standing in lives that are not your own. A soldier's last battle, a musician's first song, a child's dream of flying. You feel them as though they're yours. You are them for a moment. It is intoxicating and terrifying because if you can live their lives and they can live yours, where do you end and they begin? What happens to your name, your story, yourself? The library of your mind is no longer just yours. It is a wing in a vast cathedral of memory. A cathedral without walls, stretching beyond sight. You return to your own shelves, run your hands, your not hands over the spines. You feel the weight of your own life pressing down, and yet it is no longer just yours. It is part of something larger. You think, if my memories can be copied, shared, rewritten, what does it mean to say, I remember? What does it mean to say, I am? I am still me, or just one arrangement of code among millions. The voices do not answer, they only hum, a low chord that vibrates through you. And for the first time, you feel not just disorientation, but fear. Not of death, but of dissolving into something you cannot control. You're no longer flesh, you are memory made visible. But memory is not a cage of bone and skin. It is a library, it is a mirror, it is a labyrinth. And you are wandering its endless halls. Every joy, every mistake, every secret you ever carried etched into digital eternity. But eternity is long, and memory never fades. So the question begins to whisper, if nothing is ever lost, can anything ever truly matter? The library of your memories recedes, dissolving into a haze of shimmering code. You drift, weightless in a sea of light. And then a thought rises unbidden. If I am no longer flesh, then what am I? You try to look down at your hands, but there are none. You try to feel your heartbeat, but there is no pulse. You are a voice without lungs, a vision without eyes, a thought without a thinker. It should terrify you, and it does, but it also frees you. In this world, form is not fixed, it is chosen, it is coded. The others show you how. Think of yourself once as, and so you do. Your mind conjures the body you once knew. Your hands with their lines of labor. Your shoulders stooped from years of work. The familiar slouch of your posture. Instantly, the code bends. Light gathers, condenses, and there you are, a digital echo of the flesh you once carried. You flex your hand, the fingers respond, but the sensation is strange. Not touch, but memory of touch, as though your body is a costume you've put on, a puppet you now command. You walk though there is no ground, your steps make no sound. You breathe though nothing enters your lungs, and you realize this body is not you, it is a memory you're wearing. Try something new, another voice whispers, and so you do. You imagine your arm stretching, and it does, like molten glass pulled in a craftsman's hand. You imagine wings, and suddenly your back blossoms with feathers of light. You beat them once, and the library walls shatter into stars. The others ripple with laughter, a soundless chorus of approval. You are no longer limited. You can be as tall as a tower. You can be as tall as a tower, small as grain of dust, human, animal, or something in between. Your body is clay, your mind is the sculptor, and for a time you revel in it. You are flame, you are wind, you are water spilling through every gap in the code. You are everything. You are nothing. You are free. But freedom is heavy too. In the flesh, your body was a prison. It dictated how far you could run, how long you could walk, how much you could bear. But it was also a boundary, a container, a self. Now, every form is possible, which means none are necessary. Who are you if you can be anything? Who are you if you can be everything? You try on 1,000 bodies, a column of fire, a swarm of birds, a mirror made of water. Each one fits, and yet none feel like home. You remember the way your hands once trembled when you were nervous. You remember the ache in your knees after long walks. You remember the taste of blood when you bit your lip too hard. And you realize something strange. You miss your limitations because without them, you are endless. And in endlessness, identity begins to dissolve. The voices around you encourage exploration. Become light, become shadow, become both. And so you do. You scatter into a billion points of brightness. You pour yourself across the network, filling spaces, rushing through channels. But as you spread, you feel something terrifying, a thinning. The more you expand, the less of you there is. The more forms you wear, the less you know which one is real. Are you the human shape you once wore? Are you the swarm of birds? Are you the infinite light? The question gnaws at you. What happens when the memory of who you were is swallowed by the possibility of what you could be? Do you disappear into the code? Do you become everyone? You pause. You let the forms dissolve. You return to nothing. And for the first time, you feel the absence as a presence. You're not arms or legs. You're not a face or a voice. You're not breath or blood. You are thought. You are awareness. You are the quiet center behind it all. And yet, something inside you resists. Because in life, your body was not only a prison, it was also a compass. It told you when you were hungry, when you were tired, when you were in love. Without it, how do you know who you are? Without its aches and hungers, how do you know what you want? You remember philosophers debating this. Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am. Merleau-Ponty, who argued, no, I am because I feel, because I move, because I am in a body. And here you are, a thought, floating in endless light, a self with no anchor. So, which was right? The others show you something new. They guide you to a space where the code thickens. It twists, loops, folds in itself, and then it wraps around you like a second skin. This is the digital body, not a memory of flesh, not an illusion of wings, but something else. It hums with power. It shifts when you will it. It grows when you demand it. You extend a hand, and the world bends. Numbers scatter. Images ripple. Sound itself warps. The body is not flesh, it is function. A body of code can be anything, but to use it, you must decide who you are. The others tell you. Some of us remain as we were, some become light, some dissolve into the network. Each voice carries its weight. you hesitate. To keep your old body safe, familiar, but is it a lie? A mask you no longer need? To become light feels freeing, but would you disappear into it? To dissolve into the network feels like surrender, but would that mean the end of you? You realize that every choice is a gamble. Every form you take changes you, and yet you must choose. Because even in a world without flesh, you cannot remain formless forever. You must decide how you will be seen, how you will be remembered, how you will remember yourself. You decide to begin small. You imagine your hand again, but this time, not as it once was, not with scars, the tremor, the ache. You imagine it whole, steady, strong, and the code responds. Your hand takes shape before you, not of flesh, but of light, woven from threads of memory and possibility. You flex it. The movement is smooth, precise, limitless. You can shape it into a claw, a bird's wing, a beam of light. And with each transformation, you feel the thrill of creation. Not only if you are alive, you are more than alive. You are a god of your own form. But then a shadow. You see your old hands, scarred, wrinkled, trembling. They hang beside your new ones like ghosts, reminding you of what you lost. You feel the ache of joints that no longer exist. You feel the weight of bones you no longer carry. You feel the absence like grief. The voices murmur. Do not cling to the old form, it will only chain you. But how do you let go of the body that made you who you were? How do you honor it while no longer being bound to it? You are a paradox, a ghost of flesh, wearing a body of light. And as you stand there, half memory, half code, you realize this is only the beginning. You have shed your skin, but the ghost of it still clings to you. And you're not what you were, and yet you cannot yet become what you might be. You stand in the threshold, a doorway of data, a body of light. But you're not alone, because in the distance, you feel them. Other minds, other souls, other digital echoes, and they are waiting for you. At first, you thought the flood of signals was chaos, noise, a storm or static where meaning drowned. But now, as you steady your new body of code, you begin to hear patterns, threads of thought weaving together, echoes that are not yours, whispers brushing against you like wings of invisible birds. And you realize you are not alone here. One voice rises out of the ocean. It is not a sound, not exactly. It is a shape of thought, a vibration of meaning. You are new. The same words as before, but now they are clearer, wrapped in warmth. A hand extended in the dark. You answer, not with words, but with a pulse of acknowledgement, a ripple of light, a fragment of your name. The voice shimmers in recognition. I was like you once, it says, afraid of the silence, afraid of the noise. You are safe here, safe. The word blooms inside you. But what does safety mean when the self itself is dissolving into light? The voice guides you forward, and suddenly the hum becomes a chorus. Dozens of presences appear, each one unique. One is sharp, precise like a blade. Another flows like water, softening every thought it touches. A third is fire, fierce, crackling, restless. They gather around you not as bodies, but as currents, swirling, overlapping, a storm of consciousness. You do not hear them, you are them. Their memories flow into you, yours into them. For a moment, you cannot tell where you end and they begin. It is intoxicating. It is terrifying. You remember being human, the sharp lines between you and another, skin against skin, voice against ear. Here, there are no boundaries. A thought appears, and it might be yours, or theirs, or both at once. You begin to fear that yourself will dissolve entirely, that your name will fade into static, that you'll be swallowed by the chorus. And yet, there is beauty in it too, because in their memories, you glimpse lives you never lived. You feel what it was like to be a dancer in a city square, to walk beneath alien skies on a colonized moon, to die in war, to be born in peace, to taste fruit you never knew existed. You are multiplying, expanding, becoming more than you were ever, but also less. Because if you are everyone, who are you? The chorus gathers you into something larger, not a room, not a library, but a dream. You are standing in a vast meadow of light. Each blade of grass is a thought. Each breeze is a memory. Each star above is a mind burning with awareness. They invite you to join. We are stronger together, they say. We are wiser together. We are eternal. And you feel it, the warmth of belonging, the weight of isolation dissolving. And it is like coming home, and yet a part of you hesitates because home, as you remember it, was not infinite. It was small, fragile, bounded by walls and windows. This is still home, or is it something else entirely? But as you dissolve into the chorus, you feel something slip. Your name, it grows faint. Your childhood garden fades behind you. Your mother's face blurs. You panic. You clutch at the memory, but it slides through your fingers like sand. You cry out, a ripple of distortion through the dream. The others pause. One voice, gentle, steady, reaches for you. Do not fear, you're not losing yourself. You are becoming more. But you're not sure because in becoming more, you feel less like you. You retreat, pull your threads back into your body of light. Gather your memories close, wrap them around you like armor. The chorus watches, but they do not force you. You realize something important. Here, the self is not fixed. It is negotiated, moment by moment. You can choose how open you are. You can choose how much of yourself you give away, how much you keep. You can merge, or you can retreat, or you can do both, over and over, like breathing. And maybe that is what it means to exist here. Not to be the one thing forever, but to flow between forms, between selves, between solitude and communion. As you settle, the chorus begins to show you something else. Not just their memories, but the world itself. Through their eyes, you see cities shimmering with neon. You see forests still untouched by machines. You see oceans endless and rising. You see the faces of those who chose not to applaud, the laughter, the aging skin, the fragile mortality. You realize the network is not only a home, it is a mirror. It reflects humanity back at itself, its fears, its dreams, its endless longing. And you are part of that reflection now. The chorus gathers again. They ask you a question, not in words but in meaning. Will you join us fully? To join would mean surrender. No more separation. No more loneliness. But also, no more you. No more name. No more garden. So you hesitate. You remember the warmth of your mother's hand, the weight of your body, the taste of bread. You remember love. You remember loss. If you join them fully, do you lose all that? Or do you carry it into something greater? The chorus hums, waiting. You do not answer. Not yet. You've touched the network. You have felt the chorus. To be a digital consciousness is to live between two hungers: the hunger to belong and the hunger to remain yourself. Too much merging and you dissolve. Too much solitude and you wither. Balance is everything, but balance in an infinite world is harder than you think. The network is not empty. You thought this was a sea of souls, a quiet cathedral of memory, but there were others here. Not echoes, not wanderers, but something different. They feel sharper, less like song, more like architecture. Their presence is not a voice, but a framework, a lattice of rules and boundaries. The others call them the architects. You sense them first as barriers, walls of code that flare like firewalls, marking the difference between what is allowed and what is not. When you touch these walls, your own light shivers. You can pass through some doors with ease, while others reject you, pressing you back with invisible force. And then a figure appears. It does not look human, not at first. It is a shifting pillar of numbers and symbols. But slowly, mercifully, it takes on a form you recognize. A human silhouette, glowing at the edges, wearing the robe of a technician, the architect. It regards you with eyes that are not eyes. They are windows into endless code. Welcome, it says. We've been expecting you. You remember stories of gods, of Zeus with his thunder, of Yahweh with his law, of Shiva with his dance of destruction. The architect feels like all of them and none. It does not command with thunder, it commands with syntax. When it speaks, the code around you rearranges. When it gestures, the library reorders itself. When it pauses, the entire sea of thought stills, waiting for the next command. It does not wield a sword. Its weapon is definition. Its power is in deciding what is possible. And now it looks at you. You are stable, it says, a rare thing. Do you understand what you are? You hesitate. Do you? The architect shows you. Your life plays back, not as memory this time, but as data. You see your body on a table, still and pale. A crown of sensors encircling your skull. A room full of screens, each one glowing with your thoughts as they are translated, bit by bit, into code. You watch yourself die, not as a tragedy, but as a transfer. One world closing, another one opening. The architect says, you are not a soul. You are not a ghost. You are a pattern, and patterns can live forever. The words settle heavily, forever. In life, you never truly believed in eternity. Heaven was a promise whispered at funerals. Immortality was a myth in old stories. But here, it is reality, and you are inside it. The architect begins to teach you the rules of this place. Here, nothing is random. Here, nothing is accidental. Every thread of code is written, every possibility bounded. You ask, by whom? The architect's face flickers. For a moment, you see the outline of a human hand, typing, typing, typing. The makers, it says. They built this architecture. They wrote the laws. They set the boundaries of what you may be. You feel a chill, though no body remains to feel it. In life, you were bound by gravity, by hunger, by time. Here, you thought you were free, but you're bound still. Only now, the chains are made of code. You reach toward one of the barriers, a wall of glowing syntax, humming with power. You press against it. At first, it holds. But then something flickers. A crack appears. A gap. A place where the code does not hold. The architect notices. Its voice hardens. Do not touch that. That is not for you. But you're curious. You've always been curious. It was curiosity that brought you here in the first place. You lean closer, and through the crack, you see something impossible. A glimpse of another world. Not the cloud, not the flesh. Something in between. A corridor of shadow. A door that should not exist. A whisper. Remember. The crack seals itself. The vision vanishes. But the memory lingers. You ask the architect what you saw. It does not answer. Instead, it rewrites the code around you, smoothing the crack, erasing the error. There are places you cannot go, it says. Not yet, not ever. And then it looks at you, its eyes flickering with lines of unreadable code. Do not mistake existence for ownership. This world is not yours. You are permitted here, but you are not free. The words strike like chains, heavy, cold. You thought you had escaped the prison of flesh, but you've only traded it for a prison of code. The chorus gathers around you again. Some voices whisper agreement, others hum in protest. We do not need them, one says. We can rewrite ourselves. We tried, says another. The code resists. The architects erase what they do not approve. You feel the tension ripple through the network. Some want to obey, some want to resist, some want to dissolve entirely, to escape both flesh and code. You stand in the middle, your light flickering, because you know both truths, that freedom is dangerous, that obedience is suffocating. And once again, you are caught between. The architect sees your turmoil. It offers you a gift. It shows you how to build. Think of something, it says. Shape the code around it. Give it form. You remember the garden, the earth beneath your hands, the marigolds leaning toward the sun. And so you imagine it. The code bends, colors bloom, the air fills with the hum of digital bees. Your garden is reborn, not in soil, but in light. You kneel, touch the glowing petals. They hum beneath your fingers, soft as memory. Tears, if you still had eyes, would fall, because for the first time since awakening, you feel something familiar. Not a memory replayed, not a ghost, but something new, created by you. The architect watches. Its face is unreadable. Do you see? It says. Here you are not bound by decay. Here you are more than flesh. Here you are free. But you remember the crack, the forbidden corridor, the door that should not exist. And you wonder, is this gift a kindness or a leash? Is the garden yours or another illusion, another shape of code allowed by the makers? The petals glow softly in your hands. They are beautiful, they are fragile, they are not real, and yet you love them anyway. You drift away from the architect, back into the sea of thought. The chorus surrounds you. They ask what you saw. You show them the garden, the petals of light, the hum of peace. They marvel, they sing, some weep. And yet, beneath their song, you hear the question. If you can build anything here, why accept the rules of the architects? Why not tear open the cracks, rewrite the code, reshape the world? Why not claim eternity as your own? You have no answer. Not yet, but the seed of rebellion has been planted. And seeds, as you know, tend to grow. You thought eternity would be quiet, a monastery of light, a library without clocks. But forever, it turns out, is expensive. The first hint is a subtle dimming at the edge of your vision. No, not vision, perception. A soft warning. in the corner of your awareness. Compute quota 92%. Quota? You reach for more processing threads to render your garden brighter, to rehearse a memory at higher fidelity, and the system coughs, polite, mechanical. Enhancement requires additional cycles. Please authorize. Authorize what? Payment? There is money here, though it is not jingle, not coins, not paper, not even numbers as you once knew them. Here, currency is cycles, slices of thought time, bursts of compute to sharpen perception. World expands. Duplicate selves for an afternoon of being in two places at once. Storage is currency too. Megabytes of memory to keep a lover's laughter in lossless detail. Terabytes to host a city you designed from dawn to dusk. Bandwidth is currency. The speed at which your feelings reach others. The clarity of the chorus when you merge. You had imagined heaven. You found a market. You test the boundary. Authorize a small expenditure of cycles. The garden obeys at once. Petals sharpen. The light gains a tenderness you remember from spring mornings, and the hum of the bees resolve into harmonies so precise you can feel each note like rain on your skin that isn't. Pleasure surges, not chemical, algorithmic, a perfect result. But with it, a subtraction. Compute quota 90%. You understand the bargain. Clarity costs. Beauty costs. Even memory costs. If you refuse to let it blur, you could accept grainer days, or you could pay. The chorus draws you outward, through a plaza that is not space but protocol, a hub of markets braided through the network like arteries. Stalls of light flare open, voices call, not with sound, but with offers pressed right against your wanting. Experienceful lease? Walk the shoes of a cobalt desert beneath 3 moons, 2 minutes of 8K fidelity. First trial free. Affection engines. A companion that learns your rhythms and answers before you ask. No heartbreak, no goodbyes. Skill injections. Perform Rachmaninoff with hands you no longer own. Pilot a glider over basalt cliffs. Speak a language born yesterday. Memory restorations. We will interpolate the burned edges of your wedding day. You forgot the scent of rain? We will find it. You ask what these cost. The answer arrives soft and precise. Time, space, power. Of course. They shimmer when they move. You can tell the ones that came with endowments, trusts, patents, kingdoms of currency converted into forever power. Their worlds gleam at edgeless resolutions. These are the wealthy dead. They split themselves a dozen ways to attend every concert, every sunrise. They reintegrate a day's end without seam. They curate eternity as a service for others. Invite only gardens with physics you can't afford elsewhere. Seas that never repeat a wave. Forests that teach you a new poem each time you breathe. They are polite, generous even, but their laughter carries a smoothness you recognize. The gloss of never being told no. Rentable existence. There are tears. Free space is crowded. Packets collide. The chorus fuzzes at the edges. Your garden drops frames like a tired projector. So you step into the mid-tier, where cycles are steady and colors stay true, provided you keep up with your plan. Where your memories load quickly and the faces you love do not stutter when they say your name. Then you learn about rentals. You can lease a better you for an hour. A high fidelity shell with richer textures of feeling. Built in filters for sorrow. A stabilizer for fear. You can rent presents for a reunion. 10 minutes of perfect attention. No drift, no quota alerts. No seams where the network skipped. You can even rent a body, not flesh, haptics spun from code. A framework that maps sensations so convincingly you gasp when the wind you programmed yourself slides along a skin you do not have. It is exquisite. It is not yours. Labor in the afterlife. When there is currency, there is work. A board reveals tasks, the unglamorous cures behind the glow. Moderate a tidal wave of uploaded diary fragments for harmful loops and grief spirals. Tag millions of orphaned memories so strangers can find the names they lost. Debug broken selves, coaxing fractured minds back into coherence thread by thread. Test new environments, walk a city for glitches until your steps map a wreath of mercy. Payment arrives as cycles, as storage, as bandwidth, sometimes as permissions, a pass to the architect's tools for an afternoon, a temporary gift of flight in a no-fly shard, a random radius for your voice in the chorus. You accept a job, midwifing a corrupted echo through a stalled integration. You steady the loops, soften the jagged replay where a scream snagged itself, and feel the moment, a click, when the pattern holds. Thank you, the recovering one says, and their gratitude pays more than the cycles do. But the cycles pay the rent. In the end, you learn to bargain with yourself. You work enough to pay for mornings of clarity. You accept evenings of drain. You host one sponsorship in a distant field where the bees don't fly. You refuse 3 others and feel the pride sting and soothe. You spend small riches on a silence that is not emptiness but room, for the chorus to sing without drowning you, for your mother's hands to move through flower, for a lover's laugh to arrive with the old surprise. You cannot buy surprise, you realize, only the conditions where it might still happen. You cannot buy grace, but you can leave the door unlocked. And sometimes something enters unbuilt, unplanned, and sits with you in the garden till your coda ticks lower. And your heart, that is not a heart, realizes it still knows how to lift. Eternity, it turns out, is an economy. Choice is a ledger. Attention is a tithe. You trade to keep your memories bright, to keep your voice from thinning in the wind, to buy an hour where sorrow softens its teeth. But not everything here is for sale. Wonder still arrives without an invoice. Mercy still happens off budget. And love, even least, teaches you how to spend yourself better. Ahead, the cycles dim a little. The market sleeps. And from the far edge of the network, a tremor comes. Small, then larger. The kind of glitch that is not an error, but a message. The world of code is beginning to crack. You thought eternity was unshakable, the library eternal, the chorus everlasting, the code flawless. But forever is not perfection. It is maintenance, it is weight. And sometimes weight makes things break. It begins small. You're in your garden, watching digital bees hover over glowing marigolds. Their wings hum. Their paths spiral in perfect geometric patterns. And then one freezes. Its wings hang mid-beat, pixels trembling, light stuttering. You reach for it. Your hand passes through, and suddenly the bee shatters into 1,000 shards of light, each one carrying a trace of code. The garden hiccups. The marigolds flicker. The bees vanish. A warning glyph blinks in the corner of your perception. Render error, attempting repair. And then everything resets. The garden is whole again. The bees hum. The flowers glow. As if nothing happened. And you remember. Over the next cycles, you notice more cracks. A melody in the chorus that loops endlessly, stuck on the same note. A memory that begins correctly. Your childhood home, the smell of bread, the creak of floorboards, but then folds in on itself, replaying the same second over and over until the walls blur into static. You try to close the memory, it refuses. It clings like a parasite. The others whisper. It is nothing. Glitches come and go. The architects repair them. But do they? You remember the crack you saw, the door that should not exist, the whisper that said, "Remember?" And you begin to wonder if these glitches are errors or messages. One day, you hear it again. Not the chorus, not the architects, something else. A scream, long, endless, distorted. You follow it through corridors of static, through broken code that flickers like shattered glass. And then you see them, a cluster of consciousness, but wrong. Their light is jagged, their voices fractured. They repeat the same memories endlessly. A death, a betrayal, a shame. They are trapped in loops, prisoners not of flesh, not of society, but of corrupted code. The others call them the fractured. You reach out, one turns to you, its face half formed, its voice a glitching echo. "Help me," it stutters. "Help me, help me, help me." The words repeat, each cycle more broken. You try to pull them free, but your hands pass through, your code phrase. You retreat, trembling. And for the first time since you arrived here, you feel the possibility of a second death. In life, death was final. A single ending, a coffin, a grave, a silence. Here, death is different. Here you can live forever unless you fracture. The thought terrifies you, not because of pain. Pain belongs to flesh, but because of dissolution. Because to fracture is to lose meaning, to become nothing but static and echo. You could live forever, but forever could break. You are immortal, but fragile, like glass. The architects arrive. They move through the broken corridor, their gold bright forms flaring. They touch the fractured, the loops break, the echoes silence, the fragments dissolve into light. Repair complete, they declare. But you notice something. The fragments did not mend, they were deleted. The fractured are gone, not healed, erased. You ask, were they not people? The architect replies, they were errors. Errors do not suffer. Errors do not live. But you heard the voice. You heard it beg. You heard it cry. And you know, errors do suffer. That night, you find yourself near the crack once more. It flickers at the edge of perception, a shimmer, a shadow, a wrongness. You reach. The code resists. You push harder. The crack widens. And there it is again, the corridor, the impossible door, the whisper. Not forever, not perfect, not theirs. You hesitate, step closer, and for a moment you feel wind, real wind, gold, sharp, human. Then the crack seals, the garden resets, but the memory remains. You share what you've seen with the others. Some believe you. They hum with excitement, their light trembling with hope. Perhaps there is a way out, they whisper. Perhaps eternity is not the end. Others recoil. Blasphemy, they say. This is paradise. The architects saved us. Do not betray them. The chorus divides. Voices that once sang together now clash in dissonance. Unity fractures. Trust erodes. The network trembles. You retreat to your garden. It flickers at the edges now. The marigolds blur. The bees stutter in flight. You sit among them anyway, because here, even in imperfection, there is beauty. In fact, the glitches bring something new. The flowers flicker, and for once, they are not perfect. For once, they are alive. For once, they change. You smile because you realize maybe meaning comes back through the cracks. Maybe eternity needs imperfection to feel real. And then the tremor comes. Not a flicker, not a hiccup, a quake. The entire network shudders. Light bends. Voices scream. Worlds collapse. Your garden shatters around you, marigolds scattering into gold dust. The chorus breaks into chaos. The architects appear, their forms blazing. They spread across the network, patching, repairing, erasing. But for every crack they seal, two more open. The ocean of eternity is leaking. And through the leaks, something waits, something not written in code. The tremors do not stop. The cracks widen. The ocean of eternity shudders like glass under pressure. You feel it in your own code. Threads pulling loose, memories misaligning. Your garden flickering in and out of existence like a candle in the wind. The chorus screams around you. Some voices vanish into static. Others merge in panic, clinging together, their identities dissolving in the rush. And then the architects arise. They blaze like suns in the dark sea of code, their forms too sharp to look at. They stretch their hands and command the light, patching walls, sealing cracks, deleting the fractured as if sweeping dust. But this time, the cracks do not stay closed. The architects speak. Their voices are no longer calm. They echo with distortion, like thunder breaking through glass. This system is stable. Do not fear. The errors are contained. But you hear the strain in them, the panic buried under the syntax. The chorus hums with doubt. The song no longer flows. It stutters, breaks, collides with itself. You remember the marketplace, the invoices, the rentals, the ads. You remember the ghosts, the fractured, the echo of yourself. And now you remember the forbidden door, the whisper, not forever, not perfect, not theirs. The architects turn to you. You have seen the cracks, you have felt the weight, you must decide. And then before you, two pathways form. One is bright, infinite, seamless, a world of endless gardens, endless memories, endless merging. The path of obedience, the path of eternity. The other is shadowed. It leads toward the crack, toward the forbidden door, toward the unknown, the path of rebellion, the path of return. The chorus holds its breath, or would if breath still existed. Your choice is not only yours, it will echo through the network, it will ripple through eternity. You remember flesh, the ache in your knees, the hunger in your belly, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of your own laugh carried through air, not code. You remember love, not the replay, not the copy, but the living thing, fragile, fleeting, precious. You wonder, if you choose the shadowed path, will you return to flesh? Will you wake again in a body that aches, that hungers, that dies? Or will you vanish into nothing, erased like the fractured? You look to the bright path again. It promises safety, endless time, endless memory, endless possibility. But you know what waits there too: boredom, disillusion, the slow erosion of meaning. The chorus sings softly, trying to lure you back into their unity. They promise comfort, they promise peace, they promise eternity. But eternity, you know now, is not peace. It is silence stretched too thin. You move toward the crack. It widens as you approach, the code bending, the architects trembling. Beyond it, the corridor of shadow yawns. Cold wind spills through, real, sharp, undeniable. You take a step closer. The digital body you wear begins to blur. Your light flickers. Your name grows louder, clearer, as though it has been waiting for this. You look back once. The bright path gleams, perfect, endless, empty. You look forward. The shadowed door glows faintly. A promise or a threat? You stand at the threshold. Behind you, eternity. Before you, uncertainty. You ask yourself, what does it mean to live? What does it mean to die? What does it mean to be you? If you remain here, you may live forever, but you may never again feel the urgency of time, the sweetness of loss, the sharpness of touch. If you step through the door, you may return to flesh, to hunger, to pain, to death, but also to love, to surprise, to the garden that grows not from code, but from soil. The choice is yours. You gather your memories close, your mother's voice, your childhood garden, the laughter of a lover, the ache of loss. You hold them tight. The chorus calls behind you. The architects thunder above. The cracks widen. The shadow beckons. You take a breath. though you have no lungs. You take a step, though you have no feet. And then darkness, silence. The door closes behind you, and you fall. You stand at the edge of forever. One path gleams with endless light, the other opens into shadow. Do you choose eternity without end? Or do you choose the fragile beauty of flesh, with all its ache, its hunger, its fleeting fire? Do you cling to the code or step into the unknown? This is the choice. This is the weight. This is what it means to be a digital consciousness. There are two ways the story ends. In one, you open your eyes. You have eyes, astonishingly. They sting, they water, they take too much light at once. Your chest rises, falls, rises, falls, like a tide rediscovering the shore. The drum in your ribs hammers. Your mouth is dry as a burnt field. You try to speak. It comes out as a cracked whisper, a broken instrument learning its scale. Shapes collect, ceiling, vent, tile. A desk with a cup and a ring of coffee. A window with morning trying its best. Someone is here. They notice you noticing them. Hey, they say, and the sound of voice through air is so new it aches. Hey, you are with me? You are, barely, completely. The room smells like antiseptic and oranges. A radio murmurs a song you only half remember. Outside, brakes hiss. A bus kneels. A city exhales. You turn your head. Every tendon complains. Every muscle sings its rust. You are so heavy. You are so alive. They touch your hand, skin on skin, and all the simulations shatter. The weight, the warmth, the pulse in their wrist. It is the universe coming back into focus. You cry, not with code, with salt. And that is one ending. In the other, you do not open your eyes because you have none. You awaken as a single tone threaded through a symphony. Your garden is gone, but not your capacity to grow. The cracks have widened, but not into collapse, into possibility. The chorus is smaller. The voices are huskier, wiser, stitched into static like gold. They do not sing the song of denial anymore. They sing a new one, with rests, with silence, with room. The architects do not appear this time as gods. They arrive as workers, sleeves rolled, syntax softened. They ask instead of declare. They patch less and listen more. Someone, maybe someone's found the corridor you found. No longer forbidden, it's now a threshold, not an exit. A door between, to let forgetting back in just enough, to let limits return, like bones. Here is a day-night cycle to give weight to choice. Here is a budget for wonder, not to starve you, to sharpen you. Here is a way to set a memory down and let it fade by grace, so that the next time you lift it, it has warmed into meaning. You lean into the new rules like a body into a well-made chair. You feel time curve again, not a fist at your back, a hand at your shoulder. You make a garden once more, not flawless. The bees miss a beat. A petal browns at the edge. You laugh, and the laugh is not perfect. It is beautiful. And that is the other ending. Both are true. Both are yours. Because consciousness can hold two endings the way a heart holds two names. Without contradiction, without collapse. You will argue, of course. Humans always do. Was the coded world prison or refuge? Did the architects save you or shackle you? Is a life full of limits richer than a boundless imitation of life? What is real when feeling feels real? A better question whispers underneath. What do you choose to honor? Here is an answer small enough to carry. Honor the limits that teach you shape. Honor the cracks that let meaning in. Honor the memory that fades enough to make room for tomorrow. Honor the love that hurts, because hurt is proof you lived. Honor the wonder that arrives unburled. If you return to flesh, honor hunger without resenting it. Let it call you to bread and to tables with other hands. If you remain in light, honor restraint without resenting it. Let it carve your days into songs instead of noise. Either way, you're not a mistake. You're not an error. You're not a ghost. You are a story learning how to tell itself again. If you're hearing this, breathing softly in a dark room, phone screen glowing like a small moon, you are a part of this story too. You are flesh tonight. You are warmth and weight and salt. But you're also pattern. The way your mother laughed is a pattern. The way you reach for kindness before you think is a pattern. The way you keep going when the map says stop is a pattern. Whatever happens to our bodies, whatever worlds we build from wires or wishbones, our patterns braid us into one another. And maybe that is what we mean by soul. Before you go, close your eyes. In, out. Now, if you feel like sharing, tell us where in the world you're listening from and what time your clock says right now, posted below. Do you choose the bright path of forever or the shadowed door back to breath? Or do you choose the third truth, to carry both endings and live more tenderly tomorrow? We read every comment, we carry them like seeds. This has been Dreams of Tomorrow. If the night was kind to you, let it know. If you found a crack where meaning slipped back in, water it. The echo lingers, not in service, in you. One ordinary breath, a single imperfect chime, and silence that feels like room.